What's going on, guys? This is Generation Fit's first official video on YouTube. I'm Benji. I make up half of the members of Generation Fit, so a whopping two. And I have no idea how to start off a YouTube video. I actually filmed an entire video. I did the whole thing, edited it, and then watched it over. And I was like, I look like an absolute idiot. It was complete crap. I was miserable, and it looked like I was held at gunpoint to film the video. So here's my second attempt. And without further ado, the topic that we are covering is 3 ways to lose stubborn belly fat. Step number one, right off the bat, is going to be to increase your movement by walking more. The average person in our modern lifestyle, we're all at desks now, just like this, hunched over on a laptop. Throughout other time, we're on our phones, cell phones, we're playing video games. We're not moving that much. Along with that comes so many other health issues as well, like joint pain, but the movement is what's relevant here, or the lack of movement. The average American only walks about 2,700 steps a day. And that's just the average. There's people walking much less than that as well. That is not nearly enough, especially if your main goal is fat loss. The average step count in cities, though, take New York City, Los Angeles, for example, where people are commuting to work on foot, is around 15, 20, 25,000 steps. Those people, none of them are fat. They're all relatively lean because they're just expending so many calories throughout the day. The new trendy recommendation is to aim for about 10,000 steps a day. And we totally agree with that. 10,000 steps is a great place to aim for because it's a convenient number and it is definitely doable for almost everyone. How do you actually get your 10,000 steps in every day if we're so used to dog barking on my first YouTube video? But yeah, so to get your 10,000 steps in, the first thing you could be doing is walking after each individual you have. How do you actually, a very convenient way would be to walk after each meal you have. Let's say you have 3 meals throughout the day. After each one, aim for a 10-minute brisk walk after. That's not only going to help you get much closer to your step target for the entire day, but it's also going to have an entire array of health benefits, and you're just going to be able to digest your food better. You're going to feel better, along with the fact that you're just getting sun, vitamin D, everything's adding up and helping you out in the long run. Another reason why walking is going to be so powerful in your life and journey towards fat loss is because let's say you go from walking to average 2,700 steps a day, and then you're walking to 10,000 steps a day. That's going to be a difference between around 250, 300 calories more burned throughout the day than you're used to, which means you're going to be able to eat either that much more and maintain your current body weight, or able to eat the same that you were eating previously and lose weight, lose body fat without even thinking about it. Step number 2 for losing more stubborn belly fat is to increase your protein consumption. The average person doesn't come close to eating enough protein to experience the full benefits and effects that it can provide for you. Before I was lifting, I was the same way. I didn't come close to eating enough protein. My diet was atrocious. It was horrible. I knew nothing in terms of what I should be eating. And I was probably eating 1/8 of the amount of protein that I'm eating now. Now, and what I recommend for everyone else, is to eat 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. What does that look like? If you're a 200-pound male, that would equate to 160 grams of protein. So what you have to do is take your weight and then multiply it by 0.8, and that will be in grams how much protein you should be having a day. If you're someone who struggles to get your new protein target goal in, say you're trying to get to 200 grams of protein and you can only eat 100 right now, just like any other habit that you're trying to establish, gradually increase the amount of protein that you're eating. So week by week, try and add in 1 additional serving of protein until you get to your target goal. It's also important to keep in mind, if your main goal is fat loss, what type of protein you should be eating. I think all protein sources are pretty good and you shouldn't over-restrict yourself, but some are better than others. I would opt for whole foods and meat particularly because of the amino acids that are found in there, but other sources are good too. You might be thinking it right about now, what the hell does more protein have to do with losing more fat in the long run? That would be a valid question if you're asking that, and it would be a very simple answer actually. More protein, along with following some sort of exercise routine, is going to allow you to optimize your muscle building potential. And more muscle means a revved metabolism. And with that new increased metabolism, you will be able to lose more fat in the long run. Also, as you're losing fat and engaging in some sort of diet, eating more protein will allow you to preserve more muscle, which in turn will allow your metabolism to stay at a higher pace as you're dieting down. Step number 3 to losing more fat is engaging in a weightlifting routine. Why? Because if you're lifting weights with the main goal of building muscle, that muscle is going to make it much more likely for you to be able to lose fat. That's because each pound of fat burns about 2 calories, and that's per pound of fat. Each pound of muscle tissue burns 4 times that. So to put that in perspective, if you added 10, 15, 20 pounds more muscle tissue to your body from working out, then you're going to be burning 200, 300 calories more per day just because that new muscle is very demanding and requires calories to upkeep it. So automatically, just by doing nothing and existing and sitting there on the couch, you will be burning more calories because of the new muscle on your frame. If you're unsure of where to start in a weightlifting program, if you're unsure of where to start with weightlifting, I'd recommend staying to the key compound lifts like barbell bench press, squats, and deadlifts. Those movements are king because they're going to allow you to put on the most amount of size in the least amount of time. If you're a very busy person with a deep schedule, they're going to be using the most amount of muscles in the movement itself, and they're going to be the most physically exerting and require the most energy, which means that you're going to be burning more calories throughout those workouts. Before I end the video, I just want to go over a few myths as it relates to losing belly fat. The first one being that you need to spend countless hours doing strenuous, intense cardio in the gym in order to lose fat. This is simply not true, and I know that it might be shocking to hear, but cardio is not the answer, and it might actually be slowing down your fat loss in the long run. That's because you'll see great results in the beginning, but then you'll eventually plateau. The reason is that cardio actually makes your body more efficient at burning calories during cardio. Your body's getting better from cardio, burning calories during cardio again, but it's becoming worse at burning calories at all other points throughout the day. So cardio is actually teaching your body to hold on to more fat throughout other parts of the day when you're not doing cardio. That's why taking more steps and aiming for that 10,000 step a day goal like we talked about before is a much better alternative, because this negative effect does not happen and it's a much more convenient and less strenuous way of losing body fat. Another myth that's important to discuss is the idea that you can spot reduce belly fat. That's just referring to the idea that you can do a particular movement pattern or exercise or follow a certain diet and lose fat, particularly in your stomach. Anyone who tells you that, you should run the other way because they're completely lying or they have no idea what they're talking about. It's just simply not true. What is true is that you start to lose fat from all parts of your body, and based on your individual genetics, you will start to lose fat more from one area than others. For men, unfortunately, we tend to store fat in our stomach where it's going to be pulled from last in a given diet. That means you might start to see fat come from your arms a little more first, and then your back, and then lastly, your stomach. That's okay, and that's completely normal. The last myth that I want to go over, which is unfortunately way too prevalent in the fitness industry, Hollywood, and just our society as a whole, is that you need to be extremely lowering your calories. You need to be starving yourself in order to lose weight. That's just not true, and it's actually very damaging for your health, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's just a miserable experience, and it doesn't work. For some very rare people, maybe it does, but it's not the optimal way to go about things. And if you think it might have worked for you in the past, how is it going now? Because what happens to most people, and this is what most likely would happen to you or already has, unfortunately, has been that people extremely lower calories, essentially starving themselves. They lose weight rapidly over the course of a few weeks, few months, and then they can't lose any additional fat. And they're wondering why. And then what happens to another large percentage of people is that they gain all the weight back eventually, and then some maybe. That's not the right way to do it. The scientific reasoning in terms of how you can lose fat is simply expending more calories than you take in. In other words, that's just burning more calories than the food that you're eating. What you should be doing is following the 3 steps from before, because what those steps do are inherently increase the amount of calories that you're expending throughout the day. Therefore, you could be eating the same amount of calories you usually eat and still probably lose about a pound per week almost accidentally because of just how many more calories you're burning compared to what you ever have in the past. If that doesn't work for you and your weight is still stagnant, if you're someone who it takes, say, 3,000 calories to maintain your current body weight, don't go right down to 2,000 calories right away. Don't go down by so many calories. So if it takes 3,000 calories to maintain your body weight, start going 2,900 calories, 2,800 calories. Experiment there first before you go down so many calories, because you don't need to lower it by that much. When you lower it by that much, your metabolism will eventually adapt, your weight loss will plateau, and then you will just need to keep lowering calories by so much to the point where you're malnourished and you're almost starving yourself, literally, and that's no way to go about things. There's a far better way to do it, and the one option is not sustainable whatsoever, and you're almost guaranteed to gain all your weight back, and the alternative option is far more sustainable and very plausible. Thank you guys for watching the first official video that we put out. Hopefully I didn't completely suck on camera. It's not like I took 8 billion takes to get this done. I did, spoiler alert. But please hit the like button. That's the button you're supposed to hit. The subscribe button. And give us a follow. That is the subscribe button. Still getting used to YouTube. And stay tuned for more content. We're coming out with videos just like this every Tuesday and Thursday. Have a good one.